For years, the Saints were successful with future Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees and legendary head coach Sean Payton. The two even brought New Orleans its first franchise Super Bowl. But 2022 will be the first year without either Brees or Payton since 2006. But don't get it twisted, the Saints still have the pieces to seriously contend. 2020 was Drew Brees' final season in the league, and it came with plenty of success. The Saints won their division, beating out the Buccaneers for the NFC South crown, and even beating them twice in the regular season. But once the divisional round came around, the Saints lost in what was ultimately the final game of Drew Brees' career. Last year, the Saints made Jameis Winston the starter, but an ACL tear ended what was the start of a really good season. New Orleans finished 9-8, yes, with a winning record, while starting a combo of Jameis, Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, and Ian Book. You have to at least be somewhat good to win with that quarterback room post-Jameis injury. So what happens when he comes back healthy? Look, I know Jameis Winston hasn't exactly lived up to the name of a first overall pick from back when the Buccaneers drafted him in 2015. He did, however, end up playing his entire rookie deal plus the fifth-year option in Tampa Bay. Jameis had a lot of flashes as a rookie, and there was a lot of reason to be excited about him. I would even say that he had improved in 2016, but the interceptions just never went away. That 2019 season was a big one. Like, yeah, on paper he was really good. Over 5,100 yards leading the league and 33 touchdowns. But damn, it came with 30 interceptions. That's just ridiculous. The Buccaneers realized that they couldn't win with a guy turning the ball over that often, and of course, Tampa wanted to make a run at Tom Brady. And it's safe to say that worked out. Jameis had a lot of decisions he could have made that offseason, but instead, he did the wild thing at the time and signed for just $1 million to be a backup and learn behind Drew Brees. Turns out, it was a pretty good call, because then he got a $12 million deal for 2021 and ended up playing really well before that ACL tear. He had over 1,100 yards, had thrown for 14 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. He was on pace for maybe 7 interceptions, which would have been easily the least in a season in his career as a starter. Plus, his career high passer rating before 2021 was 92.2, and last season it was 102.8. People don't realize just how improved Jameis Winston was, and that came with an average offensive line. But unfortunately, that's going to get worse in 2022. Terron Armstead signed with the Dolphins in free agency, and that leaves Trevor Penning, who the Saints just drafted in the first round to start at tackle. Even Ryan Ramczyk, your expected best on that New Orleans offensive line, struggled at times last season. The Saints' O-line is significantly worse than years past, and that's really bad news for Alvin Kamara. But it probably won't matter. Kamara is one of the best players in the league with the ball in his hands, and the Saints will find a way to make him useful, whether that's in the backfield or out catching passes. Kamara has already proved his value from the moment he got into the league as a rookie and won Offensive Player of the Year. Already, Kamara is a 2-time All-Pro and has never had less than 800 yards in the season. He is that guy, and that's not going to change anytime soon. There's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the Saints offense, like with Jameis Winston, but there's one guy that probably matters even more: Michael Thomas, 5 yards. And I know everybody calls him Slant Boy, but if you had Drew Brees as your quarterback, I'm sure you'd be running slants too. Just because he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time doesn't mean he has a huge arm. Now, if you want to call somebody Slant Boy and it actually apply, do it to Jarvis Landry. Thomas doesn't even play out of the slot that often. Jarvis Landry is literally a straight up slot guy, but he's good at it, and it won't take long for the Saints to figure that out. He's been in Cleveland for the past 4 seasons, and last year he dealt with some knee stuff, but the 3 seasons prior, he had about 3,000 yards in total. Before that, he had over 4,000 yards in his first 4 years in the league in Miami. Landry even led the league in receptions in 2017 with 112. I think he's a great addition and should mesh really well with Michael Thomas, and with the Saints' shiny new toy, Chris Olave. The Saints have already hit big by drafting an Ohio State wideout before, Michael Thomas, so why not try again with Chris Olave? The Saints drafted drafted him at 11 this offseason after a really impressive and consistent career with the Buckeyes. He didn't see too much playtime as a freshman, but then was stellar for 3 straight seasons, never had under 700 yards, had over 2,500 yards over the span, and was all Big Ten every year. He's just a good-ass football player, and he should fit well with Jameis Winston. Olave is one of the Saints' biggest offseason moves. Another huge one was signing Tyrann Mathieu. Mathieu is a very good veteran safety who can bring a lot of talent and leadership for a defense. The Honey Badger, as he's known, is a 4-time All-Pro and did win a Super Bowl as a member of the Chiefs. He started his career with the Cardinals, had a short stint with the Texans, and played in Kansas City for 3 seasons before this offseason he inked a 3-year, $33 million deal in New Orleans. I think it's going to be pretty obvious that he'll be a fan favorite, just like Jarvis Landry. Both played nearby at LSU together, and now they'll be playing in the same state on the same team, this time in the pros. That secondary already has a lot of high expectations, and now it has Tyrann and Marshon Lattimore. Lattimore is another Ohio State guy in New Orleans. Seems like the best players on the roster are all from Ohio State or LSU, but the Saints took him in the first round back in 2017, and he's been a beast ever since. Defensive Rookie of the Year, a 4-time Pro Bowler, just a good corner, and now with Tyrann Mathieu deep, New Orleans is going to be even harder to throw against, for forever. New Orleans drafted him in the first round back in 2011, and since, he's been an All-Pro 3 times and been the staple on that Saints defensive line. I'm willing to bet that the New Orleans pressure is going to rattle opposing offenses again in 2022, and that will come in big part to Jordan. The Saints look a lot different than in past years, even at the head coaching position. Sean Payton retired, and in stepped Dennis Allen. Luckily, that isn't a huge change. Allen isn't exactly new around the block. He was an assistant coach for the Saints from 2006 to 2010, and after a quick failed head coach stint with the Raiders, he returned to New Orleans in 2015, and hopefully this time, with the right pieces in the building, he can succeed.